Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, a production from Empowering Pumps and Equipment as the voice of the pump and related equipment industry. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 76 of the Empowering Industry Podcast. This is coming out on October 4th, and I am your host, Charli Matthews, and I'm joined by my co-host. She is remarkable. She is amazing. It's Bethany Womack.
Love to hear it. I'll come back next Friday for the same praise. Last week, we didn't comment at all that we hit 75. I feel like 75 is a milestone for one.
Yes.
And now it's October, which is crazy because lots of fun things are happening in October, like WEFTech and empowering women. And then we're getting into the holidays. And we're here and I'm really excited. And, like every week, we're so thankful that you choose the show. We're going to talk to you about social media, preview the news from Empowering Pumps and Equipment, and have a really fun interview for you today in our industry influencer interview section. And, while you're here, do us a favor, leave a rating and review, all those fun things, and definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you get all of the new videos in your feed on Monday morning.
I love it. And I just want to say I've been calculating. So we're a little bit ahead because we've done a lot of bonus episodes. But in November, we will hit 100 episodes. So it'll be super exciting to celebrate. We like to celebrate around here. So yeah. I'm ready to celebrate that with everybody.
Any excuse to do that. Okay, so Charli, before we start, how was your week this week?
I had a good week. I got to connect with a lot of people around the podcast world. I've been asked to be on several podcasts. I've got some calls to return about being on podcasts. That always makes me happy because I feel like
it means they liked you at least a little bit. They're asking you to come back the second time.
Exactly. And I had a lot of good personal things. I got to go out and meet a coworker and kind of catch up on planning. And then I went to tennis and I was part of my clinic this week, which, I don't remember if I told you or not last week about just being thrown under the gun and had my first match, right? But I wanted to start with clinic, which is like where we get together and practice and learn and see like, what did I forget? And so the first thing, and I know I'm going a little strong on this, but
I like it. I'm here for it.
It's very basic to just turn your shoulder for tennis. Okay. This is number one thing you need to do. I totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about where I'm supposed to hit it, if you're at the net. And so going to clinic, I'm like, oh, well, next match, I'm definitely going to win. Because, I wasn't even turning my shoulder before. So it was fun. What about you? What have you been doing this week? I've been all over the place, so I don't really know.
Yeah. So one of the big focuses this week for work was really producing all of our partner preview videos that Becca did and recorded with our partners that are participating in WEFTech and TPS. And there's at least 10 videos, I think, that have gone out. So really proud of those. And it's always fun to highlight our partners and see some familiar faces since we've been doing this for multiple shows now. But then it also just got me so excited for WEFTech and seeing people and being there and just hearing people be very excited about things that they're working on and getting to share those, I think, is one of the fun parts of this job, of being in the industry, of this podcast. And so it was a fun work week for sure.
So shout out to Becca, who has been doing all of these interviews, and they're just going to be friends now, right? She's just used to like, hey, what's up? What are you doing today? And how are we going to use those products and everything out in the world? So I'm excited to see everybody at WEFTech too, and then look forward to TPS and SMLP is also in October. I'll be going to that and seeing all of the maintenance community. So just so much stuff in October.
Yeah. And while we're on WEFTech, another reminder for everyone that Empowering Women, our event is happening the day after WEFTech in Chicago, October 21st. There is a virtual option to see the sessions, but then if you're there, we really want to see you in person. Come, registration's still open. There are limited seating. There is limited seating available, but there's still some spots for you.
There is just a couple spots left. And, I'm really excited to see some old friends that I haven't seen in a while that will be there. And so we have the fashion show, which is also a fun little element. So bringing in some workwear tied into it, and our men's session on how to, be a better ally, and just a lot of fun stuff this year. And, October is also where we have our digital edition coming out. And I just want to let you know that this one was special to me, right? We talk about repair or replace in the cover story, and we will let you all know where to find that. You will link it in the show notes. But for me, the story, and I'll just give it away here, is that they are replacing pumps. Okay. So making things more efficient. But for me, it was repair. So I was going through this journey with my heart valve surgery, and the best option for me was to repair it. So I got to have a fun little tie in there to talk about, when do you decide? How do you decide whether to repair or replace? So y'all take a look at that. Also super proud of what we did in Chicago, Bethany, with all of your pictures that you took for our Empowering Women model call, if you will, but spotlighting all the women in industry and kind of pushing them to be themselves. So you'll see a lot of that, a lot of conversation about how to be ourselves will happen at the conference. And then I have to give one more shout out to Elena, who was our very first Pump Talk celebrity, who decided, okay, I'll get dressed up and take a picture with a pump and send it to you. No problem.
I love her.
Oh my gosh. It's the best. And now she is using that to influence other people. So the title of it is Be the Role Model, because that's what she is today. And she faced her fears in a lot of ways to be a speaker in that way for us. And so I'm just super proud of her. Love to be able to spotlight her. And y'all take a look and definitely give her a shout out or send her a message and just let her know, thank you for doing this.
She did something that I want everyone to do. And this is like what I push for when you're building your personal brand. She went and had a photo shoot done of herself where she looks awesome and empowered and strong and confident. And now she's using those photos. So that's always step 2. A lot of times you can convince people to do the photo shoot, but then convincing them to use them is another step. She's doing it. She's using those photos. She's putting quotes out. And every day I see her, Elena, in my feed, and she's telling me something new and positive that I need to do. And I'm like, yes, I need more of you in my life. Thank you for using your personal brand. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. And I think she just needed to start, because look at her go. So anyway, thank you, Elena. Thank you for Franklin Electric, who is our cover story of the magazine. Great story, amazing products that they have put into place and helping people not have to, stay up at night worrying about their systems. So take a look at that, and we'll go into a little bit later too.
Yeah, definitely check out the digital edition. It's a great lunch read or evening read when you get home from work. And for now, we're going to get social. This is where we're going to tell you something you need to know about social media in the industry, either for your brand or for your company.
So first, let's invite people to our virtual meetup in October. It's going to be the Empowering Women's Meetup Wednesday, October the 13th. That is going to be every second Wednesday of the month at 11 Central Time. So 11 a.m. Central Time. And this particular one, me and Bethany will be in Houston. I'll be flying in for the Valve World Americas event. And so if you're in town in Houston, let us know. So maybe we can meet up there the 14th, maybe. I have a speakers session there at the show. So I'm in the speakers corner there. So just let us know. We'd love to meet up with you.
Any excuse to get me out of here. Please let me know. I'll be there.
Excellent. Okay. We aren't going to have an Empowering Brands meetup because we told y'all October is packed. We will actually be at WEFTEC during the scheduled time. And so we'll make it up to you in November. We will have the session, and you can go ahead and sign up for that meetup now for our November spot. But we'll miss you, but hopefully we'll see a lot of you at WEFTEC or one of our other events. And
But
Go
yeah,
ahead.
if you miss Vince, because Vince is a staple of our meetups, Vince will be at Left Tech. Send him an email. I know he would love to sit down and go over our media kit with you that we just got out for 2022 that we're really excited to talk about. Talk to Becca or Charlie. I'll also be at Left Tech. We'll all be there, and we're excited to see you.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, to make sure that you mention us. Vince is actually doing social media listening for us the last 2 weeks. And so if you mention at Empowering Pumps or use the hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast, and he would have seen that. So if you want to do it now, then we'll still see it. And so connect with us.
Yes. Like Charlie was saying, to connect with us, to get a shout out, that's what you need to do. And I'm stealing Charlie's shout outs, and I'm just going to tell you on Wednesday, Charlie and I recorded a short video episode to celebrate International Podcast Day that happened. It'll be this past week when you're listening to this live. But so we had Rob and James on the video with us. Just they have their own podcast, and we just kind of talked about what's awesome about podcasts in the industry. There's some tips there if you're wanting to start your own podcast. And I just think it was, for me, it was just a fun time hanging out with our friends who also do this. And I think it's a fun video that you should definitely watch.
Absolutely. We'll link to that. And it is a fun video. They both have really great podcasts and share all kinds of knowledge that you actually need to know. So James has the Industrial Strength Marketing podcast, and Rob has the Leadership Launchpad Project podcast.
Which you were on. Coming out soon.
That's right. I've been on it, and I have another one I just recorded this week, and it was so much fun. It gave me all the feels, all the chills, and let me share a little bit of my heart journey and how that relates to what I'm doing in leadership. So check that out, coming out. And yeah, what you want to teach them something, Bethany? Think we're ready?
So we're wrapping up our YouTube series today. We are on the final part in our 3-part series all about YouTube and YouTube strategy for B2B. My hope and the goal of this series was that it will help you shape your marketing strategy for the platform, and that we start to see more videos and more people being active on YouTube in the industry. So part 1 was all about the stats. Part 2, we talked about some strategy. And then today we're going to be covering 4 tips to increase engagement and get you some more subscribers. So, and let me say, I am going to link a couple of articles in the show notes that I was pulling some different information from HubSpot and Hootsuite that has even more great tips for you for YouTube strategy. So what's our first tip, Charlie?
Awesome. So number 1, be reliable. Like Bethany every week, she is reliable with bringing us these amazing topics. But the consistency really does matter. And we want, as podcasters or people who are sharing videos on YouTube, you want to make sure that you're consistent so their audience knows when to show up, when to look for something that, it's a part of their routine, making it part of their routine, and they will be able to do that. And we have lots of other hints on how to do that, but make sure that you do recognize that they're there, engage with them, engage with the people that make the time to add a comment, right? Or a like, or so, one of the best ways that we can do this and kind of get to know our followers or subscribers, gotta get that right, subscribers, is to look at who actually subscribe, like see who they are. Do they have a channel? Are they sharing valuable content? And then, definitely make sure you engage with them. If somebody gives you that time, we've talked about before, if they take the time to make a comment, then send them something more than a like. Spend them a little bit of time there.
And when new people come and find your videos and they see that you're interacting with the audience, that will make them even more likely to want to interact with you because they know you're going to respond. So
absolutely.
Always a good thing. Okay, the second tip, which I think is one of the most important, which is why I gave it to myself because I was super excited about it, is figuring out your keywords and your content and how those work together. So what content you put out and what keywords you use to describe it is really one of the biggest keys to increasing your viewers and subscribers. And one of the reasons you want to do that is because you really want to optimize your videos for how SEO works on YouTube. So you want to include keywords in the titles, that people are searching for. You want to include keywords in your descriptions, in your closed captions, if you have them. And now you're saying that's great, cool, but where do I find these keywords? Which is something I always ask when I'm putting this stuff out. And I have a few tips for you on how you can find keywords. Number one, you're already engaged in a content marketing strategy with your team and all of the information you're putting out between blogs and your website and social media. So there is a list of keywords somewhere, I promise you, that your marketing department has of what your audience is looking for. So start there. Number two, you can use, I call it a hack, the YouTube search suggestions. So you go to YouTube and you start typing in a phrase and then let YouTube finish it for you and tell you all of the things that people have searched for. So I did this. I'm going to look at it. I just typed in centrifugal pump. And then I got a list of, 12 different things that people are looking for when they type that in, like maintenance, overhauling, parts, problems, assembly, all those kind of things. So do that with whatever your keyword that you already have. And then lastly, you can look at similar accounts or other accounts to find out their most popular videos. And so what I did is you go to some of your best subscribers and you click on them and then you see what channels they subscribe to, which shout out to our friend Leroy, because I actually did this to his when I was looking through ours, and you can see what channels he subscribes to. And so I saw several accounts that are industry related that I was able to look at their most popular videos and see what kind of information our target audience is watching, basically.
I'm just so excited. I just feel like we're getting better and better just as we're training you and educating you on this stuff. We also are getting better, which is amazing. Okay. Tip number 3 is highlight the benefits of subscribing and viewing. So basically,
you want to remind people why they need to subscribe. That's what
That's right. That's right. And the reason is there's twofold, right? One is you want that to show up, the convenience of it in your feed when you go there. But also, we know we've talked about algorithms and all these different things. This is how you get videos you actually want to see recommended to you. So subscribe to the ones that you really want, like, comment on the things that you really want to see more of. And I always like that. I like people sending me stuff that I don't have to think about. Like, this is related to what I want. I loved Entrepreneur Magazine. They have some of the greatest blogs that pop up. But I also think it's helpful to organize your playlist. So if you're the podcaster, you're the YouTuber, and you want to have content there, organize it so it's easy for people to find what they're looking for. So we have the Empowering Industry podcast all in a little playlist just for you. So you can just push play and it just keeps going all day. However you want to listen to that.
Background noise, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be learning as you're doing other things. And so I want people to know what's next. So every week we publish our YouTube channel, to our YouTube channel, our podcast. And so we're going to be doing that. Look for it, right? Like, know it's coming out on Mondays, and this keeps people in the know. This keeps people knowing what content to expect. So you should do this for yours. You're in there, you're telling them about this product. Well, let me tell you what we're going to do in the next video at the end of that particular video. So just keeps people kind of coming back and wanting to subscribe so that they can get that next bit of information.
Yeah, it's, like a preview for your TV show that's coming out next week. So it makes you want to watch it. It's just a fun way to get people to subscribe. And then our last tip to increase the number of people who subscribe and who view and interact is to really hone in on your visuals that you're using. So number 1, have a thumbnail for your videos. Having a good thumbnail, that's what people are going to see when they type in those YouTube searches and all of the videos pop up. And really, like the click-through rate. So when people search and yours pops up, the amount of people that click on it is a good indicator of what, or is a factor that YouTube uses in its SEO on your video. So you want people
I remember that, right? I remember that when we were just starting to put out our videos, that was so important, and what you chose to put on that affected whether they were going to play it or not.
Yes. And the tip for what you choose to put on that is really you're going to get more clicks on a thumbnail that has a clear title with keywords and a person's face, a close-up of, we'll say a friendly face. Yes. Because and this is a really fun thing to dive into. It's in one of the blogs that I talked about from Hootsuite that I'm going to link. Humans are programmed to seek out other people because I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget it because I thought it's kind of a cool biology thing. It's a survival mechanism for us to gauge whether people are friends or foes. So we haven't evolved out of that. People love people. They love seeing faces. And so include a face on your thumbnail.
That we can trust. Okay.
Yes. And then the other visual that you should care about and you should implement on all your videos is what's called end cards. YouTube lets you customize your end screen as long as your video is playing to tell people what they should do next. So right now I'm trying out a new end card on our videos. I tried it out with the partner preview one. So check those out, please, and let me know what you think of our end card. That when people are done with the video, they see an option for a suggested video from our YouTube channel, the playlist for the show, so WefTech or TPS or whatever, and then a subscribe button. And so adding those end cards, it's a simple step you can do on the end that helps people clicking on your content that you're suggesting instead of letting YouTube suggest through its algorithm a video on someone else's channel. That doesn't keep anyone interacting on your page.
Yeah, I love this. So it's like, okay, you get to YouTube, somebody's saying, hey, don't forget to subscribe here. And then you read and listen to the content. And then, at the end, you might say something in your content that says, subscribe, watch our next video. And then you get a card at the end in case somebody missed it because they were doing laundry. And then they're like, oh, also, let me back that up because I want to see the next one. Make sure I subscribe. So all great stuff. I love it. I feel like if you tell somebody 3 times, then they'll get it.
Yes.
And so wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Bethany. I feel like I learned something.
Well, and to kind of sum up my final thoughts about this whole YouTube chapter that we've been doing is that like the tips we talked about today are technical tips that you can do in YouTube that help people subscribe and you get more subscribers. But optimizing videos and doing all these tips isn't going to replace creating quality content for people that they want to watch. So step one should always be people want to see good content. So instead of thinking of how to sell your customer something and a video you can make that sells them something, you need to be thinking of like a video that will help them do something for free. They watch the video for free and they learn this tip, or they're searching for how to do something with this part and they find your video, because that just builds that brand trust and viewership and all these metrics that we know leads to sales, as long as you're framing it in not necessarily a sales way, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we're going to move into the news. This is where we're going to preview the news coming out on Empowering Pumps and Equipment newsletter. It'll come to your inbox twice a week. Make sure you're subscribed. And we're going to start with the person of the week this week. Person we have for you this week is Malay Vias. He's a coach plus player. I left this in here because that was on his LinkedIn description, and I always love the way people describe themselves on LinkedIn. I think it's a really good insight to who they are. A servant leader, which I thought was awesome. And he's also the vice president of business development for Indar Business Unit. Really cool person that you should add on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and he had some great advice that he would give somebody. So we always like to ask that, right? But he says, be courteous, work hard, and be curious. So I love that. After, some 20 years ago, he says, and one of his managers told him, if you say you know everything in the field of rotating machinery, you'll always be wrong. What better advice? Okay. Like we can all learn something, and especially in rotating equipment, like we like to talk about. So check him out. I think he's going to be one of those people that you leave and you're like, okay, that made an impact with me. So check it out and let us know what you think. You can also nominate somebody, right? So we love sharing these stories, building our empowering industry up. So nominate somebody. It's easy to do. Takes you like 3 minutes. So let us know who you have found in your workspace that needs a little pat on the back or that we can learn from.
Love it. And like he said, there's always something to learn. And today, both of our news stories that we're highlighting, I think are teaching Charli, and I think really good learning pieces for the industry, which is why we wanted to share them with you today. So I have an article from Sulzer titled Bearing Assembly Retrofits Are Not Just for Overhung Pumps. So we all know that reliability is a fundamental requirement for between bearing high energy pumps that operate in the oil and gas applications. And so when you're looking at optimizing these systems, design improvements and material upgrades, you can do them during your planned maintenance intervals. And doing that will extend the mean time between failures. So something you definitely want to do because you want to extend that time period. You don't want failures. You want things to run as efficiently as possible and be able to reduce costs. And so this article is super in depth about all the different things and ways that you can optimize and refit these older pumps to make them run more efficiently. And so Douglas Story, who's a retrofit specialist for Sulzer, which is, for one, really cool that that's like a whole thing.
Yes. We appreciate this.
Yes. So he looks at design improvements that can be implemented in older between bearing pumps. So there's a list of about a lot on this article of ways that you can improve them by implementing these changes. And the article covers, different upgrade designs, improved cooling, carbon steel housing, modern instrumentation, upgrading the ceiling, and different designs that can really help you run more efficiently, save some money, be able to keep using these older between bearing pumps without having to get completely new ones. So really cool
anytime
article.
anytime that we can reduce downtime, we're for that. So we want to make sure that you know about that. My story is from Tico Westinghouse on systems engineering BESS microgrid. Now, if you're like me, I didn't know what BESS was when they started bringing it up. So I'm going to tell you, it's a battery energy storage solution. And so Tico Westinghouse has completed a systems engineering project involving the integration of two MW BESS with microgrid configuration. Yes. It took me a minute to process that. I don't know why. I think it's because this is new. This is new technology. I love learning about it. I love seeing how we're going to apply that to the pump industry and the power grid. And so the entire microgrid configuration was connected to an existing 7 MW solar field. So just that makes me want to dig in and learn more. And so this energy storage is an essential part of that, especially in the industrial microgrids. And so let's dive in. We're going to hear from Sean Hassani, who is designed and developed this grid and integrated it into BESS and PV. So y'all take a look at it. Let us know what you think, how we're going to be applying this to our everyday in this energy transition that we're going through. I'm looking forward to hearing how this is bringing our industrial and commercial on-site management to, demonstrate how power can be resilient with some of these additional things like cost savings, operational energy efficiency functions that this product is offering us. And so let's dig in, y'all. I always love something new like this. And really think about sustainability in the future of where we're going. So check it out. And thank you, Tico Westinghouse, for sending it in to us.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sending it in. I think a lot of times on the podcast, we talk about water and how, like, when we turn on our tap faucet, you and I and people in this industry have an appreciation of how the water got there and all of the work that goes into it. Energy and electricity is still something that I definitely take for granted. Everyone takes for granted, I think. And so I always like when news stories and things that we're learning in the industry help give me a better appreciation for just how essential all parts of this industry are to our everyday life. And I've never even heard of a microgrid configuration. And so it was really interesting for me to read this whole thing and learn about BESS and the new things. And thank you for teaching me something new, Tico.
Yeah. And if you think about it, Bethany, when y'all had the storm come through Houston and it affected your power grid and your water and everything else, you
mean when everyone that I know instantly became an energy power grid expert and wanted to tell me all the things that they knew about it. And I was like, you have no idea.
Y'all need to go to empoweringpumps.com and check out this stuff. So a little side note there, but it is important to your point.
Yes.
And I think that's what we have to share today in the news.
Yep. And I'm sending the link to my Texas governor. So everyone, we can at him. Thank you. Okay. So now we're going to move into our industry interview, which Charli, you went and found someone from Franklin Electric to tie into the cover story that came out on the Empowering Pumps and Equipment digital edition that came out this month. And so for our interview, we have Jessie Hinther. He's the Central Regional Manager for U.S. Industrial Products at Franklin Electric.
Yes, and I've known Jesse for many years, so it was so great to have him on the podcast and get to reconnect. He spent the last 20 years being heavily involved in the pump industry. He began his career, which is probably where I met him, as a project engineer at Little Giant Pump Company. And so I know that he's doing some really great things over at SWAPA, which is the Submersible Wastewater Pump Association, where he currently serves as the chairman. And so just another way that he is giving back. He has participated in several pump trainings, seminars. If you don't know him, you should know him, and dive into the world of knowledge that they can share. And we're going to do that in our digital edition. So if you don't get enough from his interview here, take a look at the digital edition that we linked earlier. And it's going to be, I just think if we can come together and share our knowledge, 20 plus years of knowledge, then we're going to be better as an industry as a whole. So hope you enjoyed the interview and their cover story, Franklin Electric, in the October digital edition.
Awesome. Okay, so without further delay, here's the interview.
Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm so happy to have you with us. Jessie, it is just a pleasure. I know I've seen you throughout the industry for years, but to be able to have you on the podcast to share today, I'm really excited about that. So I like to start. Yeah, I like to start with just having you share your story, kind of who you are and what you do.
Sure. Okay. Again, Jessie Hinther. I'm the Central Regional Manager for Franklin Electric's industrial team. Been with Franklin now just a little bit over 20 years. Started as a manufacturing engineer for them back in 2001, and have played some roles in engineering, marketing, and now sales. So it's been a blessing to be a part of this organization for sure.
Yeah. And, just being at an organization that long is really a testament to the organization itself. But also just kind of having different roles to play and kind of figuring out where you fit in an industry or an organization is part of it. And I think it's really part of it within the pump industry. I'm curious, though, how you got into this industry. What that's a question I ask everybody, but it's really specific to the pump industry. How did you get involved?
Sure. No, it's honestly, I had a group of other students. This is my first big boy job, if you will, right out of college. We had a long track record with several people filling manufacturing engineering roles with actually it was Little Giant Pump Company at the time, and so they were, I guess, gracious enough to give me an opportunity. And since then it's just it's been all positive. So lots of different roles and lots of different opportunities that Franklin has given me. So.
Yeah, so it's funny. I think I met you way back then when you had just got. So I think we've been in the industry for a while, is what we're trying to say here. But okay, so you're in college. You have that background in engineering. Is that kind of how you jumped into manufacturing?
Yeah, honestly, I was a farm kid. Grew up working on things. Was always a very mechanically driven, hands-on type of guy, and it just seemed like a really good fit for me. And so that's kind of why I pursued this industry.
Yeah, and so we get to see that. I know just from my perspective to be able to see the hands-on at different events, and I really like a plant tour. So getting to really walk through and see how the process is. But now you mentioned you went from kind of that role into marketing and now sales. That's a lot different. Kind of that technical side with the sales. Have you seen that helped you along the way, kind of with your current role?
Oh, absolutely. I would almost consider myself kind of a non-traditional salesman, just because that's what I like to do for my customers is fix problems and solve things, and really in all of these roles I've had the opportunity to do that. So it's, like I said, it's been a good thing for me.
I love it. I love the sales engineer. Here he is live in person right now.
Right.
Okay, so what you've really already answered my next question. Kind of what you enjoy about your job, kind of problem solving, getting to meet people. And one thing I did want to bring up, because you're kind of this active role in our industry through SWAPA, the Submersible Wastewater Pump Association. I do believe I've seen you at several of those meetings prior to where you are now. But tell us a little bit about SWAPA for the people who don't know it and kind of what you've done there.
Sure. I kind of followed in the role. I had a gentleman that we worked with. He's now retired, Charli Utley. He was very involved with the beginning of SWAPA and just a super guy. And he kind of took me under his wing and started attending some of the events. I mean, SWAPA is it's a great organization. It's all about educating the industry, and it's getting the opportunity to become involved. I wanted to do more with the organization, and so I've kind of.
You have done that, right? You've done trainings and different webinar series and different things like that within the organization.
Yep, that is correct. Been on the technical committee. I've led several of the training sessions, and I'm currently serving as the chairman. So it's been a great organization. I'm really proud to be a part of it as well.
Yeah, well, we're excited to see what you do there. It's always great to meet and have our leaders on the call with us. I'm really excited to be able to share about Franklin Electric as well, because you are going to be on the cover of our October issue, and it's a really amazing story. The Texas water community, and I just think about this, in general, like kind of this lake community in need of help, and you step in and have a solution for them. But it's kind of interesting. It's tons of pumps, and it looks like we're deciding whether to repair or replace, the system that has thousands of pumps involved in it. What is kind of the challenge there? What do you talk to municipalities about when you're trying to decide, how do we fix this problem? And there's that many pieces of the puzzle, if you will.
Yeah, no, understood. And it was really, it was a challenging opportunity, I guess, for us. It was, they had several issues going on with their system. They had, scouring velocities that were really making the head conditions really high. All the flushable wipes that, especially now, are sold more than ever, right? And they're all disposed of typically through the waste stream. And so they had a lot of challenges that we were able to go in and really just kind of handle them one by one. But we started with what would be their worst case application. They had several homes that did not have their own grinder pump. They were all going into a lift station, and so it was just seeing a lot of really bad things, honestly. And so we provided them with some products, let them try it. Suggested, hey, put this in your worst spot and let's see what happens. And it's really started to do some good. We've seen the head conditions actually come down a little bit, which means we're starting to scour some of those lines. The grinding ability in our IGP series is fantastic. We've got a lot of starting torque and locked rotor torque. We've got a set of stainless cutters in that pump that we're able to manufacture and hold a 2,000 tolerance. So it's like a really tight pair of scissors. And it's just a really great product. And it was applied to this, and we've just had really great results. And the fact that we have a facility just right down the street, essentially just across the border in Oklahoma, it's really been convenient for them as well. So
yes, and I think we just need to stay here for a minute, because this clogging of pumps and lift stations and just clogging of all of these systems is something we know about, is that it is a challenge. So we have equipment in place, but and so you've got to, it gets clogged, you take it out, it gets clogged, you try to repair it again. and then all of a sudden you get new technology that can actually take care of this problem. So I think this is really important because they're going to keep doing it. We've been talking about this for so long. So you're going to get things in your systems. I can't explain it enough. We can't preach about it on the podcast enough, which we have been doing. Like, do not flush things down the toilet. But you have a solution that you were able to replace, thousands of pumps that are going to help take care of this. And so I think it's important, and really a big focus is, are we going to repair or replace these things? And part of it is trial. Like you said, let's put this in, see if it takes care of it. Anything else that you see as kind of a solution or helped guide that?
Well, I think just to kind of expand on that just a little, I think that's kind of the conclusion that they came to is, we were originally going to just put these in new applications and move forward. And I think they've really seen that there's a great return on investment if they'll just put it in. They had one particular weekend, they had came to Oklahoma. We had a training event for them. We actually, we ran some of the pumps just to show them, its capabilities. And I think that particular weekend they had, 28 to 30 hours of overtime. And so I think they've just really seen the benefit of, once you swap that pump, you're not going to have to go back. And so it's really been a great deal. So,
yeah, I think the peace of mind for the employees that work there too, to know that, maybe it's helping them not have to, come out in the middle of the night or, just be anxious about it. Like, I know the system is not up to par. So, what's going to happen? When's it going to happen? And right. I think you're relieving people's stress. And that's also great for employees.
Sure. No doubt. Yeah. Nobody wants to go back out there 2 or 3 times, right?
No. And you would almost kind of just feel like defeated after you know what the problem is and you can't kind of fix it. So I'm excited to share the story. So for anybody who is interested in this and wants to read more and kind of see the inside look of it through photographs, we have that, and we will be including that in the show notes. But before we move on, I just think Franklin Electric needs a little credit. I mean, I went to the website and I was looking around, as I always do. But one of the things that I thought was interesting is that you are getting into this fueling system side. So I'm not sure if this is in your role, but you are kind of that industrial focused, for over the years, kind of in the industry. How do you see this moving forward, our industry? I mean, fueling systems and kind of what that stands for is just one element of that. But I'm just curious. I'm curious about it. And I think, you're a very innovative company that I'm just, I can't wait to see what you're going to do next. Any insight there?
Sure. No, the fueling systems is not a side that I have spent a lot of time on, but certainly there's a lot of opportunities there for Franklin Electric to grow and just continue to help provide solutions to that market. But so honestly, my main focus has mainly been water, whether it's boosting or wastewater or anything like that. But certainly a very innovative company.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm excited to be able to share that, to be able to share your company and see what you're going to do. Just as we've been talking, is there anything that you want to share for our audience, our listeners?
Honestly, I'm just thankful for the opportunity. I appreciate you guys giving us, the opportunity to show off some of the work that we've done here, especially with this community, and certainly just want to thank you for that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make you do a little fun things here. This definitely outside of the engineer comfort zone. But this is what I've just added this to the podcast. It's our rapid fire, and it's just to get to know you a little bit better. So just interested, like, what's your favorite book?
Favorite book? Well, I'm an avid Sooner fan. And so there's a book titled Bootlegger's Boy. It's all about the life of Barry Switzer, and it's pretty awesome. I'd encourage anybody to read it. So.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to throw out a Roll Tide in there from Alabama. I know, okay. I know exactly. Y'all beat us, so it was really bad. Okay, favorite movie.
Honestly, it's not really a movie, but I've recently watched Yellowstone. Would highly recommend that to anybody who's seen that and can't wait for that next season to come out. So.
Yeah, whoever loves to, it's the landscape for me. It's beautiful
It is,
being able
no
to kind of reflect on that. Best advice that you were ever given?
Treat people like you want to be treated. Be kind, work hard, and good things will happen. I mean, that's kind of the motto that my parents taught me, and so I try and do the same.
Okay, and then I mean, aside from that, because I think you would give that same advice, but do you have any other advice for kind of other people in the industry coming up? Like, what would you say to them?
Water is a fantastic industry to get into. I would recommend that to anybody. It's essential. It gives you the opportunity to help people, to do things that are green for the environment. You're not sending wastewater out anywhere. It's just so I would encourage people to educate yourself about this industry and jump in, right? Both feet.
Yes, I love it. Okay, well, if anybody wanted to talk to you, how should they get in touch with you?
Certainly, I'm on LinkedIn. You can also follow us. Franklin Electric is on LinkedIn as well. At Franklin Water, Instagram and Facebook. So come check us out.
Told you they were an innovative company. Always love to see our pump industry on Instagram. It's one of my favorite networks. So we'll include all of that in our show notes and make sure that you can get in touch with them easily. Thank you so much, Jessie, for being here. It was great to see you again, and look forward to seeing you in person one of these days soon.
Yeah, no, we certainly appreciate the opportunity. It's good to see you again as well.
And we're back. Charli, thanks so much to you, and thanks to Franklin Electric for coming on the show and doing this interview. Jessie, you were great, and we hope to see you on even more podcasts after this. Since we were your first podcast, it's always awesome when we get to introduce people to just a new way to highlight their story and their company story.
Yeah, and you're going to see him on all kinds of other podcasts now, and he'll just be the spotlight. That's what happens. We have proof that that's what happens. But this brings us to the end of our show today. Thank you so much for listening.
Do us a favor, subscribe, please. Don't let me get through 3 series or 3 weeks of talking about YouTube to get more subscribers without subscribing to our show. So wherever we're going to do the button, like and subscribe. And then if you're listening to this on an audio platform, rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're on. It helps other listeners find us.
Yes, and I have been enjoying the comments. So you are doing it. You're out there commenting on our posts, which I love. Also on the other social media networks, make sure that you use @EmpoweringPumps or using the hashtag EmpoweringIndustryPodcast. You can email me at podcast@empoweringpumps.com. I would love to have you on the show. It'd be awesome.
And we'll be back every Monday with a new episode.
So until then, be empowering. I have to get a new dance.
Love it. Okay. Are we ready for news? That was weird. Got a little too excited. It's fine.
We're here. We're back. And
I'm doing it again.
News.
I'm sorry. I'm starting again. Okay.